So a very good evening, Venerable Juewei, and to our Dhamma friends who are here in person, as well as also those who are joining us online, wherever you may be. Tonight, we are so lucky to have Venerable Juewei offer a Dhamma talk on a very, very important but deep teaching on the fullness of emptiness, and she will be drawing from the deep wisdom of the Diamond Sutra. I'm certainly very interested not only in the topic, but Venerable Juewei always gives excellent talks and sessions, and today we will have an opportunity to have a very interactive session as well with Venerable, and so you're in very good hands with Venerable. For those who haven't met Venerable before, Venerable Dr Juewei has been an ordained monastic and in Buddhist Studies scholar for over 20 years. And prior to her ordination, Venerable applied research in artificial intelligence and business processes, re-engineering in the Singapore government for over 10 years. And now she's the head of program for Applied Buddhist Studies and Humanistic Buddhism, as well as also director of the Humanistic Buddhism Centre at the Nan Tien Institute in Australia. She's also the co-editor of a special issue for the Journal of Global Buddhism and Studies on Humanistic Buddhism series. Venerable Juewei has created community projects, and many of which I think is so inspiring in bringing the community together, the way that it is able to incorporate Buddhism into a way that is very modern and really applicable to our lives, including in different formats such as webinar series, podcasts, apps and tools. And Venerable Juewei has also co-organised the 8th International Symposium on Humanistic Buddhism in November 2021, during which time she first introduced the idea of the MettāVerses. She is a dynamite, and she is fantastic in the way that she's able to really bring Buddhism into the world and the way that it is expressed. So let's look forward to an evening with Venerable Juewei together. So thank you so much, Venerable, for being here, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Tina, for the invitation to come meet the Metta Center friends again. And thank you so much for that very kind introduction. Well, thanks to you, Tina, that we've collaborated on several projects and worked together, and you've contributed so much to our symposium and later in the book. So thanks to you. Great partnership. I remember 2 years ago, I spoke at the Metta Center on painting enlightenment, healing visions of the Heart Sutra. I still remember it very well. I was in your Metta Center in Bankstown. And there was such good feedback from your friends. And in that session, I shared some very beautiful and intricate paintings of a Japanese artist, Iwasaki Sunio, that revealed how working on the Heart Sutra not only healed him, but also resonated with us. And I thought that talk was so successful, although it was like 2 years ago, that maybe tonight, along the same vein, I could share the precious teachings of the Diamond Sutra and how they can guide us through difficult times. So if you allow me to just share screen now. Are you able to see the share screen, everyone? Okay, thank you. So both the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Sutra emphasize the Mahayana concept of emptiness, but in different ways. You will find that the Heart Sutra tells us that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. That's that famous saying from the Heart Sutra. And the word emptiness appears 7 times in that super short 260 character sutra. However, in the Diamond Sutra, although it is also about emptiness, the word emptiness, or Kong in Chinese, does not appear at all among the over 5,100 characters. Interesting, isn't it? So I was very intrigued how that happens to be. And from that, I guess, investigation on my part, I came to realize what the fullness of emptiness is about, when even the text is empty of the word emptiness. So with that, let me go to the beautiful tradition of Australia. I'd like to first begin by recognizing the importance placed on cultural practice by Australia's First Nations people and respect cultural diversity in all forms. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which NTI stands, where I am, the Wodi Wodi people of the Darawal Nation, and pay respect to their elders past and present, and extend those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples of today, and of course, the traditional custodians of the land on which you all are, and pay my respects to their elders as well. Okay. The problem with being a university lecturer is that we are brainwashed about student learning outcomes and pedagogy. So here goes. For the next 90 minutes or so, we will bookend the talk with a mindful check-in and a mindful check-out. This will help us to enter a contemplative learning space and also to leave it behind when the session is over. The talk itself is divided into 3 main parts, each starting with a few words from me, followed by a little learning activity to ensure that the learning outcomes are met. After listening to the introduction to the Diamond Sutra, I hope that you will appreciate why it is a significant Mahayana Sutra. The next section on the teachings should help you to understand the essence of the Diamond Sutra. And finally, we would not leave this space without some practical applications of the teachings that we have heard. And yes, we'll try to leave some time for Q&A at the end, but please feel free to raise your hands when I stop talking at any stage, especially at the end of each of the sections, if you want to raise any questions that you fear you may forget by the time we reach the end of the 90 minutes. So how does this flow sound to everyone? All good? Thank you. So let's first begin by checking in our body and mind for a few minutes. So a characteristic of the way we teach in NTI, and some of you here are or have been students at NTI, is our practice of starting our classes with checking in mindfully. And I understand that you do the same here in Metta Center to also have meditation sessions. So I'm going to use a vanilla flavor app that I've developed in 2016, almost 10 years ago, and it's available free of charge in Apple stores. So let me know if you don't hear anything.
It is now time to check in. From wherever you've come, that is now behind you. Let's focus on the present, because there is nothing more important than the gift of the moment. Please ensure that you are in a safe place. You may either sit or stand with your spine upright. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. Place your hands on your sides or on your lap. Gently close your eyes. We will begin by scanning the body for any areas of tightness and relaxing those tensions. Let's start from the top of your head. Relax. Relax your forehead, your eyes, your ears, your facial muscles, your lips. Relax. Feel tensions evaporating from your head. And now, let's move on to your neck muscles. Relax. Shoulders. Upper arms. Lower arms. Hands. Fingers. Slowly let them go. Now work your way down the spinal cord. Relax one vertebra at a time. Your thigh muscles, calf muscles, your feet, toes. Feel all tensions melting into Mother Earth. The next step is to scan for any remaining areas of tension and anxieties. Honor them and the conditions that have led to their arising. Gently, ever so gently, let these tensions and anxieties out of the body and your system. Now that the body is completely relaxed, let's slowly bring your attention to the tip of your nose. Breathe. Watch every in-breath and out-breath, without control and without judgment. There is nowhere else to go and nothing else to do. Simply continue to watch your breath until you hear the sound of the bell. Slowly bring your awareness away from the breath to your ears. Hear what is going on around you, still maintaining a quiet body and mind. Gradually move your attention to the eyes. Gently open your eyes and smile. Be grateful to all the conditions that give you whatever you have before you. You are now ready for the miraculous moment to be the best that you can be.
Thank you, everyone, for this lovely but short check-in session. I hope we are now ready to begin our exploration of the Diamond Sutra. This first section is on an introduction to Diamond Sutra. It aims to achieve the following learning outcome: for us to understand why this Diamond Sutra is such a significant Mahayana sutra. It's chanted in almost every Chinese Buddhist temple. I would say that many people, many devotees, Chinese Buddhist devotees especially, would have heard of, if not are quite familiar with the Diamond Sutra and many phrases in there. Why is that so? I'll share a few ideas around why that may be the case. So on several pages now, I've been sharing with you this particular image. Why? Well, what's the significance of this image? It was found on a very special printed scroll. This scroll is made from 7 stripes or strips of dyed yellow paper, approximately 10.5 inches wide and 17 feet long. It is dated 868 Common Era, so that's 9th century, quite a while ago. And it says in Chinese, Divajra Chatika Prajna Paramita Sutra, which is what we commonly call the Diamond Sutra today. And this is significant because it is the earliest reliable date found on any known printed manuscript. So before sutras were printed, guess what? Sutras were copied by hand. And you can imagine how slow and error-prone that process can be. So printing is an extremely important technology that has allowed for the spread of the teachings of the Buddha. And why is 868 Common Era significant? It's because it is 600 years before the Gutenberg press was pioneered in Germany in 1440. So congratulations to China for a very important invention. And so here is the first significance of this copy of the Diamond Sutra. It is technically the world's earliest known printed book, the Diamond Sutra. And on this printed book is this very intricate piece of artwork showing the Buddha giving the teachings to his disciples. And later on, I'll talk about a particular disciple of the Buddha. So now let's go into the name, Vajrachatika Prajna Paramita Sutra. Okay, let me begin. As a scholar, just to let you know that the word Diamond Sutra, is a rather misleading translation from the Sanskrit word Vajra, but it's very common. So Vajra originally refers to the lightning that evolves from the thunderbolt-like weapon held by the deity Indra, one of the oldest gods in classical India, and who is the lord of the weather and the lord of war. So the power and the indestructibility of Indra's weapon came to represent enlightenment. So some Buddhist systems believe that Vajra itself is the substance of enlightenment. So the Chinese characters Jin Gang indicate that Vajra is some type of adamant metal and not really a diamond or a precious gem. So just know, while we often call it Diamond Sutra, it's actually a kind of metal, but a very hard form of metal. In Sanskrit, the word Vichedaka means cutter. So the word Vajra Chatika refers to an indestructible metallic weapon that will cut away all defilements that stand in the way of enlightenment. That's what Vajra Chatika means. So imagine yourself being a warrior against all your worries, all your anxieties, your unhappiness. Wouldn't you like to possess such a weapon to be able to cut away all those defilements? So that's another reason why the Diamond Sutra is so significant, as it equips its readers with this weapon against all our mental defilements. So now, Vajra Chatika, so we know the first word. Now let's look at Prajna Paramita. So Prajna Paramita means perfection of wisdom, or it could also mean perfected transcendental wisdom. So it's not just your everyday information, knowledge, wisdom. It's a very special kind of wisdom that helps us to transcend from all these mundane, worldly problems, or the dukkha, the suffering. So, and this particular wisdom is also a level of understanding beyond the wisdom attained by arhats. So arhats realize the non-substantiveness and impermanence of the aggregates of experiences that constitute what we call the self. They believe that one becomes free from the cycle of rebirths when one realizes such a view. So a view that we are just made of aggregates and we are not a permanent substantive self. So it's called the emptiness of the self. However, Mahayana Buddhists contend that this view is insufficient for attaining this ultimate transcendental wisdom. So in addition to realizing the emptiness of the self, to Mahayana Buddhism, true enlightenment also adds the realization of the emptiness of dharmas. That is why in the Heart Sutra, it says that even the Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, are all empty. So the set of Prajna Paramita Sutras is among the earliest Mahayana sutras that teach this form of transcendence. And the Diamond Sutra belongs to this genre of Mahayana texts. So in this sense, the Diamond Sutra is significant because it contains one of the earliest teachings on emptiness in the Mahayana context. It also helps practitioners cut away any attachments to not only our identity, but also to the teachings and practice themselves once they have achieved whatever they were set out to achieve. So it's called the ultimate non-attachments. The image you see on the screen is of a particular bodhisattva called the Mahaprajna Paramita Bodhisattva Mahasattva. This bodhisattva represents the manifestation of Prajna Paramita as a bodhisattva. So, I mentioned the word bodhisattvas many times. the archetype of a bodhisattva is very central to Mahayana Buddhism. The term bodhisattva is a Sanskrit term that means a being dedicated to enlightenment or awakening. So the goal of a bodhisattva is to realize the most supreme of wisdom called Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. So Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is the most supreme and perfect form of enlightenment. Bodhisattvas embody this form of enlightenment and will not settle for any lesser form of wisdom. The enlightened understanding of the phenomenal world as empty or shunyata is called prajna. And along with the practice of the other 5 perfections, because Mahayana Buddhists believe in 6 perfections as their path, so that together, so the practice of prajna paramita together with the perfection of the other 6 or the other 5 perfections, the perfections of discipline, the perfection of patience, the perfection of effort of diligence, the perfection of meditative concentration, all this together give us what's known as Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. So in the Diamond Sutra, the focus of the Bodhisattva practice is prajna paramita, or the perfection of wisdom. But what is the purpose or the goal of this difficult practice? So the earliest Prajna Paramita Sutra that was translated in China dated around 179 Common Era. So that's like the 2nd century. That's even older than the Diamond Sutra that we saw earlier. So at that time, there was a particular Ashtasahasrika Prajna Paramita Sutra, or what's known as the 8,000 lines wisdom, perfection of wisdom sutras. There is a particular novice bodhisattva by the name of Ever Weeping. And this particular Ever Weeping bodhisattva was going around searching for Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And in the sutra, he mentioned that he's on this quest so that he can be a light for all living beings and accumulate Buddha qualities. So that's the purpose. That's the purpose of this quest, so that the bodhisattva can be a light. So that's a way of showing the way, a light, right? Showing the way for anyone else who wants to be a bodhisattva, who wants to be a Buddha. And this is the process on this path that we can then accumulate what we call the Buddha qualities of compassion, of infinite patience, and all these good virtues that make one a Buddha. So that's the Bodhisattva. Now I'm going to come to our little recap and reflection time. I've covered a little bit of material, not a lot, but I wonder if anybody can now tell me what you recall as the significance of the Diamond Sutra. Just feel free to unmute yourself and shout out or put it in the chat. Anyone? Why is the Diamond Sutra a significant Mahayana Sutra? What do you recall?
Joseph?
It was one of the first to discuss the concept of emptiness.
Yes, thank you, Joseph. That's correct. It was among the first of these sutras, especially the Mahayana sutras. Thank you. Anyone else? It was also the earliest printed text. So the Diamond Sutra is the earliest printed text found in the world. What does it offer its readers? An important weapon.
A way to shine the light for everybody. So like a refracting the light in every direction.
Yes, shining the light. Thank you. That's so important, shining that light for all living beings.
Also, the authenticity of the sutra.
Yes, that's right. It also shows the authenticity of this sutra. Very good. And it helps also along this path. You've got this weapon against defilements, but it also helps us to accumulate the Buddha's wisdom along the way. So would you like to equip yourself with a Vajra? Like this? Yeah? I
Many
hope so.
many years ago in the United States, I met a Nepalese monk in Davis outside Sacramento, just in conversation with two other skydivers. Then she said, I am actually a monk from Nepal. And when she found my military background, she says, do you need welfare protection? And I said, well, protection would be one of the priority in my current phase of my life. And she presented me a double diamond Vajra and small bell and then chanted and said, may you have safe travels. And for that, for the next 10 years, I wore whilst during my service period. I was
Wow.
very humbled to have met this person.
Wow, thank you, Haiyan. I mean, this is so important, isn't it, to have that Vajra that is indestructible and also as your protection and a safe journey. And the Dharma practice itself is a path. It is a journey. Perfect.
With
So,
that, sorry, Venerable, with that background of after the period of time and then the change of employability, it made itself scarce, but from there the wisdom gained enabled me a further middle path enlightenment by increment, which I'm still learning bit by bit by bit by bit by bit.
oh, wow. The same with all of us, isn't it? We all are growing a little bit, but hopefully we have these little bits that we can work on. Yay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Sin, who says that the Vajra gives us a sense of determination, zeal, and perseverance. Yeah, that's so true. Vajra, importance of Vajra. Yeah, the lightning rod, Ali, that's so true too. Yeah. And yes, thank you, Nikki. Yes, the earliest known printed book. Great. So, having heard all this, would you like to be a bodhisattva? I mean, the bodhisattva path is not easy. Any thoughts for whether you'd like to be a bodhisattva?
Yes, please.
Yes.
There's a comment from Sin.
Let's see, what does Sin say? Sounds very far-fetched. That's right. That's right. You know, you've got to do a lot. Look at what the Bodhisattva tells me. Yeah, the Bodhisattva has to realize the most supreme of wisdom. The most supreme of wisdom. But would you like to do with anything less? I mean, given what we have in our lives today. So let's understand what really inspires these bodhisattvas to want to go for nothing less than the most supreme of wisdom. Okay, so let me just, if it's all right, I think I'll move on to the next section to look at the teachings, and then we'll come back and see if the bodhisattva path is something which appeals to you. So the next part, the teachings of the Diamond Sutra. Let's look at what the essential teachings are. There's one particular character at the bottom right corner of the picture that was found in the earliest dated book in the world, and his name is called Subhuti. Subhuti is actually a forest yogin and well known as one of the Buddha's disciples foremost in his understanding of emptiness. Yet in this sutra, I've told you before, the word emptiness did not appear at all. It is quite a revelation, isn't it? So let us understand first then what are the questions that Subhuti asked the Buddha. So usually that's what discourses are. There's a person who asked the Buddha some questions and the Buddha gives a teaching. So the Buddha has many epithets, and one of which that you see here is the world-honored one. So it means somebody who is a very esteemed teacher. However, another epithet you see here is called the Tathagata. Tathagata is a very interesting epithet. It means suchness, or in more everyday parlance, someone who can let go, but also let come. Have you thought about it? You know, we always talk about letting go. Have we thought about letting things come? And what does that mean? The ability to let go and let come. Come what may, I welcome you. And when it's time to let it go, I fare you well. What does that mean? No attachments at all. None at all. And is this an attitude that you think you want to have in your life? The ability to have no attachments. I can tell you that today, this word Tathagata, this non-attachment is going to be the theme of today's talk about the Diamond Sutra. And it is that emptiness that Diamond Sutra is trying to portray. Allowing things to come, allowing things to go without any attachments. So, this Tathagata is a great teacher of bodhisattvas who always protects and is mindful of all bodhisattvas, no matter whether they are novices or whether they are experts. What does this teacher do? He lets them go by entrusting them. And when they come, enjoin them with teachings. So imagine that he's a good teacher. When students come, he teaches. When students go, the teacher fares them well. So Subhuti is interested in how to help novice bodhisattvas. He knows that there are virtuous men and women out there. And this particular part, when he says virtuous men and virtuous women, makes me think that to be a bodhisattva, the first is the practice of morality and ethics. That means one has to be virtuous or wants to be virtuous before one can start that practice. So if you want to go beyond being virtuous, then they can decide to be bodhisattvas to realize the most supreme of wisdom, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And they do so through the practice of Prajnaparamita that we said so earlier in the first section, so that they may be a light for all living beings and accumulate Buddha qualities. Okay, so one has made their resolve. Now, Subhuti, on behalf of these novices, asked the Buddha 2 questions. First, it's like I want to set out on a long journey, right? Like Sin has told us, this is a really long path. So, what should I rely on so that I can keep progressing on this path? Right? So most of us, if we hear that it's going to be a long path, we're going to think twice before embarking. But if I tell you, look, you have something that can protect you, it's more likely that you will continue. So that's why Subhuti asks, what can we rely on? The second question is around, what weapon do I have to protect myself? That is, what does my virtual weapon look like so that I can master my mind? And when defilements arise, I have that weapon to cut them away. So therefore, I have something to rely on and something to protect me. And in this case, the journey that we are undertaking is not a physical journey, but a mental journey. So we know that a lot about Buddhism is about this mental journey, about clearing, purifying our minds. So on this journey, what can we rely on and how do we master our minds? Interestingly, the Buddha begins his answers with the second question. So recall the second question is about the weapon one should carry on this journey to master the mind. So the Buddha says that the Bodhisattvas first must make a resolve to teach all types of sentient beings, from those with the least intelligence, such as those born from an egg, to those of the highest possible intelligence and merits, that is, those born in the heavenly realm, that is neither with perception or without perception. The Bodhisattva skillfully liberates them all. So that's why the Bodhisattva needs to have the highest form of wisdom, because you need the highest form of wisdom to liberate these very, intelligent, very smart, very meritorious heavenly beings. But the trick is that the Bodhisattva, while liberating all these beings, no, they are not liberating any being at all. No attachment to the idea that, look, I saved you. I saved one more person. I saved one more animal. No such attachment. It also means the Bodhisattva does not have this conception of a self, of an individual, that means an other person, or even the concept of sentient beings, or the concept of lifespan. That means from time to time, across time. So it's another way of looking at emptiness of a self. There's no such thing as a substantive permanent self or a substantive other individual, or even the concept of sentient beings that are immutable. In addition to that, this holds true even from lifetime to lifetime. So think of it as emptiness in space and in time. So that is the vajra that a bodhisattva carries with him or her when encountering any stuck points in the practice. So think back to when we encounter troubles in our life. Wasn't it often due to us being stuck with who we think we are, our bodies, our ideas, or any fixed notions of what others are or want, and then refusing to let go, even years after the event has taken place, and it should be behind us? So that's what this particular teaching is about. Next time, if you appear to be stuck, you're ruminating on something over and over again, it's time to take out this vajra to remind ourselves that there are no conception of a self, an individual, a sentient being, or lifespan. That means I don't need to be stuck where I am, or I don't need to be stuck with whatever that person says. That person has moved on and I'm stuck with whatever that person said about me, or whatever the person was complaining about. There's no need. Or there's no need to be stuck with something that has occurred a long time ago. That's past. Basically, what that means is non-attachment to any forms, now and forever. Okay, so that's the vajra that the Diamond Sutra is about. So essentially, I'm just going to explain these two answers and you understand the whole of Diamond Sutra. So the first is non-attachment. because Subhuti only asked 2 questions. The Buddha gave 2 answers, and the rest of it is elaboration. So we've done with the second question. Now let's go to the first question. On what would you say they should rely? So non-attachment alone is not enough for a bodhisattva. The Buddha continues to teach Subhuti that bodhisattvas must practice all virtues. All virtues. The Arhat practice is the Noble Eightfold Path of right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right meditative concentration. The Bodhisattva practice consists of the 6 perfections, which are giving or generosity, discipline, patience, effort, meditative concentration, and wisdom. Bodhisattvas also practice what is called the 4 methods of winning people over, because that's what bodhisattvas do, right? They liberate other beings, they help others. So how do they help? So there are 4 methods, and they are giving, loving words, beneficial conduct, and working together. So as you can see, giving is common across both of these major bodhisattva practices. And so this underscores the importance of giving. Okay, so this is the bodhisattva set of virtues as represented by giving. So the Diamond Sutra, the focus of practice, number 1, Prajna Paramita, and based on giving or dana. So look at what the Buddha says. Furthermore, Subhuti, regarding dharmas, bodhisattvas should not rely on anything while practicing giving. So bodhisattvas are supposed to practice. So using giving as an example, they should not rely on anything. That means they should set their mind. So what should bodhisattvas set their mind to keep them going? They should practice those perfections without relying on anything. So the trick is to keep practicing, that is, keep giving and not give up giving. And not say, oh, I'm done. So keep going. See, it's so easy for us to give and expect rewards in the form of a praise or an acknowledgement, or we want people to know when we have done good, or we hope for a better future as a result of being or doing good. Now, the Buddha warns us against such expectations. Any form of expectation, that means relying on any of this, expecting any of this, in terms of what we see, what we hear, what we taste, what we touch, what we think, will definitely lead to suffering. So true emptiness, according to the Diamond Sutra, is that we practice, bodhisattvas keep practicing without expecting any return. So that's the meaning of not relying on anything. So you don't rely on any returns in order to keep practicing. Okay. So let's look at dana. There are 3 types of dana. The first is the giving of material goods, something that is like daily provisions. For example, it's tangible material objects. Okay. The second is the giving of fearlessness. So many people in the world live in fear. So for example, we may fear offending someone, or we fear losing something that we treasure, or we fear hunger, we fear war. And now, if we can give someone fearlessness, that is very meritorious. Okay, so the gift of fearlessness. But the third gift is the highest of all gifts, and that's the giving of dharma, or the giving of teachings. So why is dana important? I've already said, because it's top of the list of the 6 perfections and 4 methods to win people over. or to convert them onto the Bodhisattva path. Now, why is giving important? Is also because we human beings are very stubborn. That is, we are very attached. Instead of non-attached, we are actually very, very attached. We are stubborn and we keep getting stuck in this samsaric cycle due to our craving and our attachments. So think of ourselves sinking in quicksand. The more we try to grasp and struggle, the more we will sink. The only way to survive when we are stuck in a quicksand is to completely let go and relax while waiting for someone to pull us out. So giving is the same. It's an antidote to our tendency to crave for things we love and not let them go. So that's the reason why we need to practice dana to remove greed and craving. So let me detour a little to try to explain a possible progress on this path. So I'm an ordinary person, but hoping to be more virtuous, right? I'm going to start my practice. I start from morality. So I try to get a little less attached to worldly pleasures. So for example, I don't go after the latest iPhone. I don't take an extra piece of cake. And I don't take that next cruise to nowhere. And I don't care about, I'm less caring about the next social media notification. So to do so, I need to appreciate the concept of karma and act in a way knowing that I live amidst causes and conditions, and that every decision I make has a definite effect down the road to me and to others. Therefore, I want to act in the most wholesome manner that I can. So that's me being an ordinary person practicing to be more virtuous. Then, if I wish to be an arhat, I want to enter a spiritual path and aim for liberation. Now I have to start letting go of my attachment to the concept of a permanent, fixed, substantive self. Hence, I need to learn that this notion of this fixed, permanent self is just an illusion. And instead, I'm interdependent on all the conditions around me. And I must adhere to the Noble Eightfold Path and all the other teachings that will teach me to be more selfless. So if I want to then say, perhaps I want to progress to become a bodhisattva, then not only do I want to benefit myself, but countless others who perhaps are wiser than me, more virtuous than me, and therefore I need to empty myself of any attachments, all together. So, back to this last teaching. What should bodhisattvas rely on? That I have to give without relying on any kind of appearances, whether in sight, whether in sound, scent, taste, touch, or thought. What this means is to truly go with the flow, letting come and letting go, completely unattached to anything. I give the person my best counsel, the best that I know. If the person does not accept, that is fine. If the person, as a result, slander me, that is also fine. If the person takes all my credit, that is just as fine. Now, isn't that a very carefree existence? So that's the intention of the Tathagata, to be able to live in a very carefree manner, away from any expectations. Okay. So, recap time. What do you recall as the essential teachings of the Diamond Sutra?
Take nothing for the journey.
Sorry, take nothing.
For the journey.
Take nothing from the journey. Yeah. Just travel the path. Thank you. Joseph says, letting come and letting go. Yeah.
Detachment.
Detachment. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Larissa, detachment. So,
Doing things without any expectation of reward, just doing with what you're doing.
yeah, that's right. Just do what we do. No expect. You know it's all good stuff. Do it. And Brooke says moral conduct. Thank you, Brooke. Yes. Anything else? Well, let me attempt to summarize this in 6 words for you. A bodhisattva should master their mind by not being attached to or relying on anything. That is to transcend all appearances, like what you've just said, with no expectations, right? To transcend. But a bodhisattva should also liberate all beings by cultivating all kinds of virtues. That means as long as it is good, they will do it. So here we have transcend all appearances, cultivate all virtues. So that is the bodhisattva path. To transcend all appearances, cultivate all virtues. That's the essence of the Diamond Sutra. I remember once Venerable Master Sheng Yuan, my teacher, was asked why he wanted to build the Nan Tien Institute. And his answer was, because it is a good thing to do. Now, at that time, I didn't understand his answer at all. Because it's a good thing to do, you do it. There's so many good things. Why must you do this particular one? But now I realize that that is actually the spirit of the Bodhisattva, who aims for nothing less than Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi and understands Prajnaparamita. He does not care how much is involved. He does it because it is a wholesome thing to do, so that we can cultivate all virtues and transcend any attachments of what a Buddhist institute of higher education should look like. We simply create our own path according to the conditions of the time. So when I read the Diamond Sutra, when I look at the Nan Tien Institute, they come together for me. They come together for me to explain that it is like accomplishing a mission impossible. The Nan Tien Institute here in Australia is almost like a mission impossible. All the other universities in Australia are closing down Buddhist Studies departments. And yet we have a whole institution dedicated to Buddhist studies. And we have to contend with a higher education climate, a sector that's so dynamic, in addition to what we have to do in the temple. Why do we do that? Well, because it's a good thing to do. So thus, we transcend all appearances. We make Nan Tien Institute what it ought to be. And year on year, I see it evolve according to the needs of the people and the times. And we also have an opportunity for everyone to just do good, cultivate all kinds of virtues here. And this is why we have this Metta Center events too. It's an opportunity for all of us to cultivate virtues together, to share, and to break any boundaries of what things should look like or should not, right? When, I guess in the past, before we had this pervasiveness of Zoom, we all meet in person. And then pandemic. Now we have Zoom. During pandemic, after that we have hybrid sessions like this. All creative potentialities. And that's what emptiness is. That's what bodhisattvas do. So it's actually very proactive and very fun to be a bodhisattva. All right, let me move on to the third section, applications of the teaching. The final section is for us to apply the teachings of the Diamond Sutra in our daily life. And this is where the theme, fullness of emptiness, comes in. I hope we now have an idea that emptiness can be seen as non-attachment. For example, a cup's emptiness, its hollow space, is what allows it to hold water. Similarly, shunyata is that space enabling existence itself. So instead of nothingness, emptiness is full of potential. It is the ground for interdependence and change. So I often translate shunyata as endless creative possibilities. I like John Halifax's translation of shunyata as boundlessness. And this is where I want to bring in fullness. It is full of potential. DeepSeek created this image that you see on the screen. It uses a glass sphere to convey both emptiness and potential. This is because a glass sphere is translucent and can appear empty, but yet hold lights or reflections. Remember, lighting the path. And then adding some ethereal elements like light and shadow inside the sphere shows movement and impermanence, which of course is the characteristic of the world that we are in. And the lotus flower reminds me of the bodhisattva practice as taught in the Diamond Sutra. So emptiness helps us to transcend all appearances, while fullness reminds us to cultivate all virtues, which is only possible because of emptiness. So when I look at this transcend all appearances, cultivate all virtues, I go like, okay, in what little way can I apply it in my own life? Okay, I'll just use my example as a way to help lead into our next little activity. So Tina, you want to get ready? We're going to go to breakout soon. So to me, I'm a Singaporean. So I come from a culture that love to complain. That's one of our signature. We complain about everything, never satisfied. But now, having learned about transcending all appearances and cultivating all virtues, I've learned not to complain. Every time I want to complain, I tell myself, Diamond Sutra says I have to cultivate all virtues. Is complaining a virtue? No, it's not a virtue. Instead, I should try to look for something good in it, in that event. And then there I am. And once I can look at something good instead of complaining, I transcend very, very naturally, transcend the situation that I want to complain about. So that is one use that I found about the Diamond, or from the teachings of the Diamond Sutra. So what I would like to do is to enter the final learning activity of the evening. And I would like to invite Tina to divide everyone online into breakout groups of 3 or 4. Are there anybody on site, Tina? You're muted.
Sorry, yes, there will be, and we'll be in one room. One
Okay,
group.
one group. Okay, so great. And then if we could do that together in a group, if you could introduce yourselves to one another, if you do not already know one another, and then discuss any insights you may have gained from this workshop, and if there are any new meaning that you can apply to your life at this point. And I look forward to hearing back from a few of you when we return in 10 minutes. Is that okay? 10 minutes, Tina?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Venerable. So I'll be assigning 8 online groups and then 1 group in person. So it's all automatically assigned. And so enjoy your time together. We'll see you back in 10 minutes.
Letting it go. All right. So, my friends, would anyone like to share what you've discussed and any big takeaways from this evening's, I guess, our conversations together? Please feel free to unmute and share. We probably have time for a couple of sharing.
Yes, so we can share.
May I share?
Who wants to go first?
Okay. Is anyone speaking?
No, you go for
Yeah.
it.
I come from my group with Umesh and Haiman. Oh, I'm unsteady, right? I think I'm unstable.
We can hear you fine.
Yeah.
You're fine, Cecile. Yes.
There was a question that was brought up that the Bodhisattva is supposed to liberate beings, and that in the process he has to teach or help people. And Umesh was saying that there is, in fact, an attachment to that desire to teach or liberate. And what my takeaway is that when you do things, or when you have reached or you have perfected your own self, or you have acquired that self mastery, you begin to just be your own wholesome self, and that there is no conscious agenda of liberating others or making a project to help others, but that in the process of your wholeness, you become a tool for transformation for others. In other words, I was citing the case of all the things in nature that give of themselves, like for example the tree stands tall and it has everything to give. It does not hold on to anything. It does not invite you. It does not hold on to you, but you can get as much as you can. And it's free, totally free. Why does it give? Because it is in its nature to give. So in the same manner, in the achievement of that ultimate wisdom, becoming self-mastered, and you have all the virtues, there is no consciousness of what you're supposed to do and the expectations that go with it, but rather, because of your pure being, because of your wholesomeness, you begin to become natural in the way you help others, in the way you become a tool for others to transform without being conscious of it. That kind of being carefree that Venerable was talking about. It's kind of hard to explain, but sure, in the process, there is always that consciousness of wanting to do good, of being attached to the goodness that we are supposed to bring to others, of the things that we can do. But at the higher level, there is just being, and that simple being that is pure, that has no attachments, really become the light that would transform others. So that's my takeaway. It's hard to explain. Yeah, the Diamond Sutra is hard to explain, but I get that essence of it in terms of don't make it a project. Just be and be carefree. Don't attach yourself to any consciousness that you're there to help others. Just be natural.
Yeah, do all good naturally. Thank you, Cecil. Yeah, great. Anyone else?
I really liked that translation of emptiness as the boundlessness, because it kind of gets at the concept of like no sort of like kind of limits, but also maybe gets at the concept that there's like no kind of boundaries between like living beings or between concepts. That's because, you know, things are interdependent, they influence each other. So there's no hard boundary between them.
Well, thank you, Eugene.
Beautiful
Yes,
concept. Yeah.
I agree. Boundlessness is such a good translation because we tend to bind ourselves. We keep entangling ourselves. So boundlessness, let things come, let things go. Yay, wonderful. All right, last 5 minutes. Let me share screen. But thank you, everyone. I must say, I hope you all had a great discussion. I had a good discussion in my breakout room. I hope you all did too. So let me just share my screen again.
Venerable, while that's happening, if I may just share one last thing.
Yes, please, Tina.
So this is what was written, so I wrote this after reflecting on what you talked about today, which really touched me. So this is what I wrote. To do things because it's the right thing to do, even if it seems impossible or difficult, or may take innumerable lives, because even if we don't achieve the outcome, we will cultivate the virtues towards the perfection of them. If there is no duality of you and me, and the time is just a concept, then these thoughts of possible and impossible, of helper and helped, of achieving or non-achieving, would not be an impediment to us to do the right thing.
Wow, what an enlightened quotation from Tina. Thank you for sharing. Did you put that in the chat so everyone can have it?
Yes, and hence why there's a lot of comments in the chat now. You'll see that.
Yay,
Thank
thank you.
And Venerable, can I just say one thing very quickly? I also, I think in our group we talked about, I think Ming Fu brought up the importance of the middle path. And I think if we just shift our perspective from, having to save everybody, that has that kind of heaviness. But if we shift that perspective to, letting go and emptiness, as you said before, then we have lightness in our heart, which means that maybe we are not going to have compassion fatigue or burnout and things like that. And we just try to help the best we can. And also helping sentient beings include ourselves. It's very easy for us to send compassion to oneself, but then we are a sentient being. So loving all sentient beings include loving ourselves.
That's right, including loving every toe and every finger and every part of ourselves. Yay, thank you so much, Sin Sin. So I hope that this evening's journey has been a pleasant one. And I'm afraid we've come to the end of 90 minutes so quickly, Tina. I don't know how time flies by, but it does. And that's what it means to let come and let go at the end. So if you have further comments, please feel free to contribute into the chat. I'll take a look at them afterwards. And if there's a need, I'll send any of my responses through to Tina. Okay, so I just want to invite everyone who is interested to come to Nan Tien Institute's virtual open day that will be on 4th of June at 4:30. You can scan that QR code on the screen if you're interested, or I can pop an Eventbrite link into the chat later. And I also will have a campus tour. I know many of you have come to Nan Tien Institute, but if you have not and you would like to visit, it will be on that Saturday, the 7th of June, and there'll be markets on that day as well. So you can come by and enjoy the markets. And finally, shall we just spend a minute to check out? To dedicate merits to all who have made this session possible and also to all sentient beings. So here we go.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
So thank you everyone for your time tonight. I really appreciate all your contributions. And if you wish to continue, you may join us in our weekly Sunday check-in sessions. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you the next time I see you. Everybody, please keep well. Let's keep going on our path and not feel afraid, and feel that we all have this Vajra weapon that we can use against all defilements, and we are safe on our journey, especially because we have this Dharma community together. Well, thank you all, and I look forward to further conversations some other time. Bye.
Thank you so much, Venerable Juewei. Thank you everyone so much for participating. Just a few short announcements before you all go. Venerable, that was excellent. Thank you, as usual, not only for a very good presentation, but also facilitating that session to enable us to break into smaller groups so that we can have conversations with each other, make some new friends, and also come back with our sharings. And thank you everyone for being such great sports and participating in that. I hope you enjoyed not only that sharing, but the friendship that you may have created from today. There are some MettāVerses events coming up. So every Monday, we have sessions like this that you can join in person at Bankstown, or you can join us online. Every Wednesday, we have meditation classes at Parramatta, which you can participate in person as well as also online. Every month, we have Ayya Kurudika and the nuns at Santi Forest Monastery who run workshops at Parramatta on a Sunday afternoon. That's always a beautiful session, and it's very family friendly, so you can bring kids along as well. And that's a free, and all of these are free events. We also have a day of practice with Longtar Narongsak, who is coming from Thailand. He's actually very special, and this is happening this Saturday. So I highly recommend that. It's 31st of May, and that's at Parramatta South Campus at Western Sydney Uni, 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Free event, food is provided, and you are all welcome to join for that. We also have a tea ceremony and meditation with Ki Husinim and Soy Ul Sinim. Both are excellent teachers in the Korean Zen Buddhism tradition, and that is happening at Jeonboksa on the 21st of June, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And Jeonboksa will kindly be offering some food for all of us, so we're going to have a beautiful lunch. And can I say, their food is fantastic. It's like K-food. And so I highly recommend that. And finally, we do have a fundraiser coming up called From the Woods to the Hood. And that is with two monastics, Brother Tenzin and also Bhante Sanata Vihari. And we are fundraising for their respective causes. So more information about that and all the other MettāVerses events are on our website. If you're not already receiving our newsletters, you can join our newsletter mailing list, as well as our WhatsApp group, Facebook, Instagram, so many ways for you to join our community at the MettāVerses. So I hope to see all your beautiful faces again real soon. And again, thank you so much, Venerable Juewei, and I wish you well. And please keep sharing the Dhamma and your joy. Thank you.
Thank you so
Have
much.
a good evening, everyone. Bye.